Welcome back to Nola Papa. I'm so glad you came. We are in phase 2 in New Orleans, and things are slowly but surely starting to shift. You know, I don't know if I'm partial, but I'm a Gemini, and every year it seems like awesome things happen in the month of Gemini. And I am just so relieved and optimistic that we're moving towards this new normal. And I am also really just around Father's Day, I take time to reflect on my life and how appreciative and grateful I am to be able to have the life that I have, to be able to be a father, and the opportunity that was placed at my feet, and how awesome and impactful that is. And I want to talk about that today. So, welcome back to Nola Papa. Let's talk about it. My name is Eric, and if there's one thing that life has taught me, it's that everything happens for a reason. All the twists and turns and everything in between. This is Nola Papa, the story of a gay dad. So I'm really glad you came, and I look forward to talking about this because I haven't talked about it. The channel's pretty new, it's not even a year old yet. So I, feel like it's important to talk about serious things too. And, Father's Day to me has never really been important that much because of my upbringing. And I'm glad to be able to talk about this. And if you like my content, I would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube page. And be sure to click that notification bell so you can be notified when I release new episodes. And while you're being supportive, go on to Instagram, follow our family's journey, and then head on over to Facebook and check out what I do there. What I do on Facebook is different than what I do on Instagram, and that's different than what I do on my YouTube page. On Facebook, it's about finding articles that are inspirational and having this little village that rallies around each other, that lift each other up, that's optimistic and happy, because life is crazy, life can get mad, and I want my platform to be something that embraces you, that is kind of like a hug. Because I'm like Olaf. I like warm hugs. So, so thanks for doing that. And, a few days from now will be Father's Day. And I can't help but think about what my life was before and how my life has changed after being a father. And I know there's so many people out there, so many men out there that long to be dads, and for me to be able to experience this is not only beautiful, but lucky isn't even the word, because I feel like, you win $5 on a scratch off, you lucky. This is not that. It's blessed. It's grateful. It's kind of like, I don't know, because when I grew up, when I was a little boy, I've talked about this, touching on it a little bit in the beginning of, the first season, but I had a piece of crap for a dad, right? And he was piss poor. He was a terrible role model. He was abusive. He was an alcoholic drug addict. And the earliest memories I have is of him and the abuse that he put us through, my mom and I. I mean, I remember, this is heavy, but I remember the sound of the telephone when he would like slam her head against the wall. Like, I remember the racist things he would say about African Americans and, the just disgusting things he would say about gay people. His brother, my Uncle Thomas, was gay, and, I always called him a faggot, and he always said how sick he was, and I just remember being so little, like, you talk like that in front of your kid? Like, but it was just the norm. I didn't know any different, And I now, being a dad myself, it's almost like I use that roadmap when I was little as what not to do and what not to become. Because, I remember so vividly the things. There's not many memories that I have of him that are happy. I remember when I was a little boy, we were underneath, I lived in the country in Mississippi, and we would go to the creek. That's what you do in the summertime. You don't go to a swimming pool, you go to the creek. And we went to this creek, and it was just me and him. And I don't remember any other time going anywhere, just me and him. I think this is because my brother hadn't been born yet, so I had to be around 4 or 5. My brother was born when I was 5. So we went to the creek, and he took me on the bank of the creek and underneath an overpass. And this is so vivid. And I guess this would probably be one of the happiest memories I ever have of him. But nonetheless, he took me to the sandbar, and we walked up the hill that kind of nestles underneath the overpass. So, the creek's right here, and it kind of goes up a hill, and then the overpass goes over the creek where the cars drive. And he took me up here and sat here underneath the bridge, and he taught me how to write my name in the sand. And, we wrote it in E-R-I. And as we're writing it, the cars would pass by over the overpass. And if you've ever been underneath an overpass, you hear a pa-pump, 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 pa-pump. And that's like the cars driving over, I guess, like the grooves or whatever of the overpass. And you're underneath it, so it's really echoed. And that sound is like, whenever I hear that sound, because, you hear it whether you're on a bridge or, I don't know, there's a Costco right down the road, and like when you go to put your groceries in the car, there's that overpass, and it goes pa-pump, pa-pump, pa-pump. And those memories, even when I was 4 years old, stick with me. I'm 39, okay? So those impactful memories, as little as it was to use your finger and write in the sand your name, and having that sound pa-pump, pa-pump, pa-pump over you, like, that didn't like necessarily change my life, but it is so vivid in my memory, and it's a happy memory. It's not like we were like doing like awesome, super fun stuff, but it was really sweet. And I think that's the only sweet memory I have of him. Everything else, like, one time he was sitting down and he just bought me a brand new Transformer watch. And I probably was about 6. And I remember getting at the store. He bought it for me and I was so excited. And he told me, he's like, if I buy this for you, you're gonna learn to tell time. And I said, okay. So we went home, and I don't know if he thought that like I was just gonna learn how to tell time like that afternoon, but apparently that's what he thought. And he got so mad at me, and he would slam and he would scream at me, and I wasn't allowed to get up, and I was gonna be grounded and not go outside anymore. And he took my watch away, and I remember crying so hard. And you know, I was 6, maybe 5, I don't know. One of the two, 5 or 6, no more than 6. And like, I use those moments as a blueprint for where not to go in my life. And it's important for me because I do have a temper. Anyone that knows me knows that I have a temper. And I have to check myself, and like, you know, I'm not perfect, but I have to check myself, especially when it's something stupid, and I have to like remove myself from the situation and let myself breathe, you know, because I am not going to be like him. And, you know, I promised myself a long time ago, I'm not abusive. I never would ever be abusive. And to live through the example that I was put through as a kid, like, there's not an abusive bone in my body. Like, to see what he did to my mom all the time, like, how could you do that to your partner? Like, how could you do that to your kids? How could you do that to anybody? And it just, you know, little bit by bit and piece by piece, I take little things like that and use it as an example of how I want to live my life, how I want to be a better person, a better dad, a better husband, a better friend, a better human. There's like, me and my brother were riding around with him one summer. We were like, I was probably like 9 and Shane was like 4. And we were on our way to the creek. It was hot, it was summer. And we wanted to go swimming, but he had to make a stop first. And we stopped by this old house, and it was off this dirt road. And it was so hot. We had the sun, or the windows down, you know, the hot air blowing, the Mississippi air blowing into the truck. And we went to this little house, and he said, you know, I gotta make a stop over here first, but you know, it's this black family. He did not say black. And he's an all right man. He has the same last name as we do. And you know, that means we owned them back in the slave times. And I mean, I was 9 and Shane was 4, around about, and we didn't know anything of it. I just remember how naturally and how it just rolled off his tongue, like we owned them because they had our same last name. And it wasn't like he was mad at the man. Like he said he was an all right, and I now look back on that little memory and like that, what? That's not right. You know, I mean, that's where racism begins, when you talk like that to your children at such a young age, and it just rolls off your tongue so naturally. That's where it begins when you're a child. And if you are taught that that's just how it is, then you grow from 9-year-old to 10 to 11, and then you're a teenager. Can you imagine if you're being taught this at 9 and then where you are at a teenager? Like, I thank God every day that my mom divorced his ass. I mean, and I wish that the trauma that it ended then. But unfortunately, I mean, I know that y'all probably know how that went, but at least we got out of his house. And we were able to stay with my mom and her new husband, my stepdad, who is an incredible human. We love him. And he stepped up to the plate and he raised me and Shane. And he is the dad that I can look up to and that I'm so thankful for. Because at that moment that my mom was in when she left him, and where my stepdad found her, she needed that support and that love, and he was there. And it just sucks and suck is such a word that doesn't even equivalate the emotion, but you know, my brother died because of my dad's addiction to methadone. And my dad gave him the methadone that killed my brother when he was 17. So, you know, that memory it's gut-wrenching. It is so, it's numb. But, you know, you move on. You learn to live life, put one foot in front of the other, and little did I know that we were able to honor my brother's life and memory by naming my son Shane, naming our son Shane. When we look at him and he smiles, he's the most smiley little baby. And the most cuddliest little thing, little chunky monkey. And he just smiles and like, we're able to start a new chapter, not replacing my brother, but when we call out to baby Shane and we use his name, like, it never gets old. And I see that it will never get old. Like, it's a beautiful way to continue the happiness behind Shane instead of it being like dark and sad. Because there's so many sad memories in the past 18 years. Because that's how long he's been gone. And now we have a new beginning to start this happy chapter. And always remember him because that's his namesake. But we can be happy. And not a moment that goes by, not a morning that I wake up, there's not a hug that I don't get where I just thank God. And the ones that don't believe in God, I thank my higher power. I thank the universe. I thank my mama. I thank my stepdaddy. And I thank all the others that impacted my life to make me who I am today. Because it's all the good ones out there that lift you up, that make you who you are. And it's those bad memories that you have. Use those as pivotal moments that steer you clear away from making those mistakes. And if you do happen to make those mistakes, learn from it and be a better person. Because in today's time, there needs to be better people. And one person can change the world. I learned that from my youth minister back when I was a teenager. One person can change the world, and it is like a domino effect. And whether it's a smile, a laugh, a phone call, a hug, you matter, I matter, we matter. And you're watching this right now for a reason. And take what I am saying and apply it if you want, because we're all in this together. And I don't know if you heard, but I got a little baby in the background that's crying, so Papa gotta go. But thank you so much for watching, and I love y'all. I hope all of you daddies and all of you single mamas and all you beautiful people have a happy Father's Day, and I will see you next time.